Hello there you guys, welcome to one of my videos. So according to Deschamps, he has said that Paul Pogba cannot be happy at Manchester United. And he said for being left on the bench and for playing out of position. Now Paul Pogba has started only 2 of our last 7 games. Deschamps has said that I need to talk with Paul Pogba regarding his situation at Old Trafford. Now, I'm expecting Paul Pogba to leave the football club next year. I think he will end up going to Real Madrid because quite a few weeks ago now, Paul Pogba made an admission saying that one day his dream is to join Real Madrid, and last year he was talking a lot about Real Madrid and Zinedine Zidane, and he said he wanted to leave Manchester United because he was seeking for a new challenge. Now, we've lowered our asking price for Paul Pogba. I think we want around £53 million for him. That's around £35 million less than what we paid for him. Like I said to you yesterday, I think it was, Manchester United and Ole Gunnar Solsjaer must solve the Paul Pogba issue. Phil Neville has given his overarching view on this, and he says that Paul Pogba should be starting games. But our first choice midfield trio is Fred McTominay and Bruno Fernandes, isn't it? You've obviously got Donny van de Beek. He's another player that's not getting enough chances at Manchester United. Now, Paul Pogba is into his 5th season at the football club since he rejoined from Juventus back in 2016. Pogba has made over 100 appearances for Man United in all competitions. He's won a few trophies with the football club, the Europa League, the League Cup and the Community Shield. Pogba obviously endured a difficult time under the Jose Mourinho era, so too did all our top players. Don't forget we had Paul Pogba when he was a lot younger under the Sir Alex Ferguson era, but we had to let him go due to limited appearances. Paul Pogba's obviously not happy that we triggered that 1-year extension on his contract. Pogba's under contract with the football club until June 2022. This was confirmed by Fabrizio Romano. Now, there has been no talks over getting Paul Pogba a long-term contract at the football club. But during the summer, his agent Mini Raiola said that Pogba wanted to stay, and he said he would hold talks over a new long-term contract. As it stands at the moment, he is our most expensive signing because we paid £89 million for him, and he sustained a few injuries during his Manchester United career. There's obviously been narratives of Pogba possibly going back to Juventus. Pogba did endure 4 good years with Juventus. The vast majority of his performances at Man United, though, have been totally comparison to his ones at Juventus. PSG have been in for him before, and so too have Barcelona. Now, obviously, Pogba's agent, Mini Raiola, we was critical of him at the turn of the year. Main explanation is because he publicly criticised Solsjaer and Manchester United, didn't he? So, there you go. Now, has Ole Gunnar Solsjaer been under pressure at Manchester United since day one? Now, according to Steve McLaren, who was a former assistant, he says he has been under pressure since day one. Because obviously, when Ole Gunnar Solsjaer took over the reins at Manchester United, he knew it was a big job. Obviously, we know that Solskjaer knows the culture of the football club and that, because he's a club legend and he was a great player for the football club for 11 years. He flourished under Alex Ferguson's guidance. Now, obviously, we've had some good periods under Ole Solskjaer. Went on a 19-game unbeaten run last season in all competitions. I think it was the second part of last season. Went on a 14-game unbeaten run in the Premier League. Did well in that 3-month period when he was the interim manager. We've also had some bad periods under Ole. That's when the pressure has mounted up on him even more. The first part of last season, we enjoyed our worst start ever to a Premier League season. Obviously, prior to the Everton game, we'd lost our last 2 games. So we have had some bad periods under him. Now, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has been Manchester United manager now for almost 2 years. And he has got a contract with the football club until 2022. If we did decide to sack Solskjaer, it would cost the club around £4 or £5 million. But he won't be sacked at this present time. We'll have to see how things go after the international break. Now, we recently had a very, very good win against Everton, beating them by 3-1. That was our 3rd win in the Premier League this season. We've played 7 games so far in the Premier League this season. We've won 3, we've lost 3, and we've drawn 1. And reflecting on that, I think we're sitting 14th in the Premier League table. But we have got to build on that Everton result, haven't we? If we can win our next 4, 5, 6 games, more and more pressure will ease off Ole. We are still looking for our first win at Old Trafford this season in the Premier League. We've not yet won at Old Trafford in the Premier League this season. And it's our worst start at Old Trafford for around 50 years. This is Ole Solskjaer's second full season as Manchester United manager, isn't it? And I said to you, didn't I, what would represent a good season for Man United, and that would be a top 4 finish and some silverware. We've not yet won out in terms of silverware under Ole. We're obviously making plans for next year. Next year, we're obviously looking to make a couple of more signings, because I still believe that Man United need a centre-half. I also believe that we do need a right winger. And there's a few players on our agenda. I give you the news regarding Ousmane Dembele earlier on today. Says we're going to go in for him in January, and we could get him for around £45 million. Dayot Upamecano from RB Leipzig, he's been on our agenda. Ousmane Dembele's been on our agenda. I think we could go back in for Sancho next year. But I think realistically, Man United need around 3 or 4 signings to become title contenders. I was hoping that we could have challenged for the Premier League title this season. You know what I mean? Because we haven't made any title challenge up for over 7 years now. And we haven't won the Premier League since 2013. Next year we'll also offload players, because there's still deadwood in the squad, isn't there? Now, I've said time and time again, I want Solskjaer's managerial tenure at the football club to work out. But I still don't think he's the right manager for Manchester United. Now, some fans think totally contrast to me, They think, he can be still a success at the football club. Manchester United is Solskjaer's 3rd club in his managerial career. Obviously, before he was with us, he was at Mould. He won a few Norwegian titles at Mould. And before then, he was at Cardiff. But his record at Cardiff was disastrous. The main explanation he got sacked from Cardiff is because he ended up getting Cardiff relegated. But let's put into the equation, reflecting how long Ollie's been at Man United, he has gained managerial experience, hasn't he? I think in a lot of his games at Manchester United, he's been very tactically naive, so that's an element of concern. I think in a lot of the big games, though, he showed a lot of tactical flexibility. So that's good to see. Solsjaer has gone a lot with the 4-2-3-1 formation since he got appointed in as Manchester United manager. I think in a lot of our games, that 4-2-3-1 formation hasn't really worked out. A few times we've gone with a 3-5-2 formation. A few times we've gone with a 4-3-3 formation, all of that. But a lot of United fans think we look better with a diamond, don't we? I credit Solsjaer for what he did last season, because last season he got us qualification for the Champions League, also got us third place finish, and he guided us to 3 semi-finals, and last season was his first full season at the football club. Obviously, in the summer transfer window of this year, Solskjaer wasn't backed enough by the board, and Solskjaer revealed a few times during the summer transfer window that he was very infuriated with the board because we missed out on all of his priority targets. But since Ferguson, Moyes wasn't backed, Van Gaal wasn't backed, Mourinho wasn't backed, and Ole hasn't been backed enough. But we've been demanding the board out now for, a good 7 years or so. Ole has obviously endured 4 transfer windows at Manchester United, and he spent over £200 million. In the summer of 2019, he recommended Daniel James, Wan-Bissaka and Harry Maguire in. In January, he recommended Bruno Fernandes in, and he brought Odin Igalo in on loan. And in the summer transfer window of this year, he brought Donny van der Beek in, Edison Cavani, Alex Telles, Facundo Pellistri and Amad Traore. Amad Traore will be joining the football club in January, won't he? And we have spent big on players in recent years. We paid like 89 million for Pogba, 80 million for Harry Maguire, 50 million for Bissaka, 52 million for Fred, 75 million for Lukaku. We bought him in 2017 from Everton. 40 million pounds for Matic. Paid around 60 million pounds for Di Maria under the Louis van Gaal era. 31 million for Lindelof, 30 million for Luke Shaw, 30 million for Eric Bay. Just under 40 million pounds for Juan Mata, back under the David Moyes era, who paid just over 27 million pounds for Fellaini under the David Moyes era. So yeah, we have spent a lot of money on players. But in the last 7 years in total, we've spent close to the £1 billion range on players, and since the Sir Alex Ferguson era, we've recruited over 30 odd players in, haven't we? I think the club made a mistake by giving Solskjaer the job permanently, because I think he is in a position that I shouldn't be in, but the main explanation we're giving the job permanently was reflecting on what he did in that 3-month period when he was the interim manager. But I think, in general, the club have made a lot of mistakes in the last 7 years or so, and that's one of the main explanations why we have been so inconsistent. Now, I do like the way that Ole has promoted the youth, because the young players have been given their chances. We've also seen a lot of players depart the club since he got recommended in. We've seen the likes of Lukaku, Herrera leave. We've seen Sanchez leave. We made the right decision by getting rid of Sanchez, because totally freed up our wage bill, because his wages were having a bad effect on the club. We also saw the likes of Darmian leave the club. We saw Valencia and Ashley Young leave the club. We've seen Fellaini leave the club. Seen Delors go out on loan to AC Milan. We've seen Andres Pereira go out on loan to Lazio. We loaned to Heath Chon out. I think we also loaned Dylan Levitt out. I think Joe Pereira, didn't he go out on loan for another season? You know, we saw Chris Smalling leave the football club on deadline day. So it's good that he has got rid of, you know, some of the deadwood, Ollie. Really, really is. So, yeah. Obviously, there's talks of Mauricio Pochettino replacing Ole Gunnar Solsjaer at the football club. Manchester Evening News said last week that Manchester United have approached Mauricio Pochettino over becoming the club's new manager. But it also says now we could miss out on him if we don't act soon. Now, it did say that Mauricio Pochettino is considering taking the PSG job. You know, Real Madrid have been in for him. Man City have been in for him, so too have Barcelona. It said the other week that Zenit St Petersburg were in talks. At one point, Newcastle were interested in him. Pochettino was talking on Monday Night Football, wasn't he, last week, and he said that he misses football and he's ready to make a return to management. But he doesn't know where his next club will be. Pochettino has been managerless now for like a year. He was linked with a managerial role at Man United after Jose Mourinho had got sacked. There's been a couple of other managers on our agenda because we've been looking at Massimiliano Allegri, former Juventus manager, and we've also been looking at Julian Nagelsmann from RB Leipzig, haven't we? But we haven't really got the structure to keep sacking managers, and would it solve a lot if Man United decided to sack Ole? Probably not, because, you know, there's not only a change of management needed at the club. I think the club need a director of football. Like I've said, we need more signings. We need a new board. You know, so there you go. We've already sacked 3 managers since the Sir Alex Ferguson era, and that was obviously David Moyes. He endured, 8 or 9 months at the club. We sacked Louis van Gaal after 2 years, despite him winning the FA Cup. And we sacked Jose Mourinho after 2.5 years, despite him winning the Europa League, the League Cup and the Community Shield in his first season. Mourinho's enjoyed the longest tenure at Manchester United since the Sir Alex Ferguson era, hasn't he? But I think it's going to be hard for any manager at Manchester United, you know, to last as long as Ferguson did, or to replicate Sir Alex Ferguson's legacy. You know, like I've said before, Ferguson endured 27 years at the football club, won a total of 38 major honours, including 13 Premier League titles. So we are the most successful team in Premier League history, but Ferguson didn't settle in straight away because he didn't win out in his first 4 years at the football club, did he? You know. But Solskjaer is inheriting a squad that is worth £700 million. This is obviously before... This is disregarding the signings he's made and that, because the vast majority of this team is Jose Mourinho's. You know, you've still got a few players even from the Van Gaal era, you've got one player even from the Moyes era, and you've got only a couple of players here now from the Sir Alex Ferguson era, haven't you? So like I said, when Ole came in anyway, he was inheriting a lot of deadwood. He's got rid of some of the deadwood, but there's still some deadwood here, isn't there? You know what I mean? We've got players on big contract. We've got players on big contracts at the football club. You know, we've got David De Gea, that's on around, £350,000 a week. You know, he's the highest paid at the club and he's the highest paid goalkeeper in the world. You've got Paul Pogba, 290 grand a week. You've got Harry Maguire, he's on 200 odd grand a week. You've got Lingard, 100 grand a week. You've got Marcus Rashford, that's on 200 odd grand a week. You've got Martial, he's on 200 odd grand a week. You know, Brandon Williams, he's on quite a bit now as well. So yeah, I don't know all of what every Man United player's on, but I just know that quite a lot of them are on big contracts at the club. Now, like I've said to you, these players at Manchester United that have really, really impressed me recently. You know, Marcus Rashford's impressed me recently. You know, Rashford did well against Everton because he got an assist. He wasn't good in his last couple of games prior to Everton, but in the vast majority of his games this season, he has been inconsistent. He's been consistent, sorry. You know, Rashford has been part of the club for several years. You know, Rashford's just recently turned 23, and, you know, Rashford's been a United player since the age of 7, and he's been in our senior squad since 2016. But aspects of his game have improved. His finishing's improved, he's scoring goals, he gets good runs in behind. Definitely the foreseeable future for the football club. I've also been very, very impressed with Luke Shaw recently. In his last 2 games, he's done well. He got 2 assists in the space of a week because he got an assist against Besiktas for Martial's goal and got an assist for one of Bruno Fernandes's goals in the 3-1 win against Everton. You know, Luke Shaw's obviously enjoyed a good 6 years or so now at Manchester United. Obviously, we paid £30 million in from Southampton back in 2014. He's out with a hamstring injury at the moment. He's out until December, I think, so won't be available for the West Brom game. So that means Alex Telles should be making his Premier League debut for the club against West Brom. I don't understand why Telles didn't play against Everton, because there was reports coming out prior to that game saying that Telles has been training and he could be making his debut for the club. Telles has played 1 game so far, and that was against PSG, but I thought he was very, very impressive. I think he'll be a good signing for Man United. You know, Alex Telles, paid €15 million for him, with add-ons included, and Telles signed a 4-year contract with the football club. But Telles was also very, very good during his time at Porto. Now, Fred, he's really, really impressed me recently. Fred was one of our best players against Everton. I like the way he dictated the play, kept the ball well. Didn't play any part against Besiktas. Against Arsenal the other week, he was quite poor because he lost the ball far too many times. Fred's got a contract with the club till 2023. You know, we paid big money for him. We paid £52 million for him from Shakhtar Donetsk. Harry Maguire, he's also impressed me recently. It's good to see him bounce back from his early season troubles. Harry Maguire is our current captain. Most expensive centre-half in the world at the moment because we got him in a deal worth £80 million. David De Gea has impressed me recently as well. He's made some very, very good saves. Didn't really have much to do though in the Everton game. I've already said to you that David De Gea will remain our number 1 this season. You know, this is David De Gea's 10th season at Manchester United. He has made over 400 appearances for the club in all competitions. I've criticised him before because he's made a lot of mistakes in the last couple of years. But a few years ago, he was the best keeper in the world, was David De Gea, no question. Because, you know, he's won everything domestically at the football club and he has won individual awards reflecting on his good run of performances. We paid, was it just over £18 million for De Gea from Atletico Madrid back in 2011. And when De Gea does leave Manchester United, I think he will go back to Spain. That's what I think. Juan Mata has impressed me in a lot of the games he's played in this season. He weren't so good against Everton, but I thought he was good in both our Carabao Cup games against Luton and Brighton. Also pretty good in the Newcastle game. Juan Mata's enjoyed a good 6 years or so now at the football club. My element of concern though, he has lost that yard of pace because he is in his early 30s. So yeah, you know, a few players have impressed me, I've got to say. There's players at Manchester United though that have still got to step up to the plate. Wan-Bissaka hasn't been good in the last couple of games, has he? You know, his attacking intent and defensively hasn't been that good. Don't get me wrong, Wan-Bissaka has had some good games this season, you know, and I think he's the foreseeable future for Man United. Got him in a deal worth £50 million from Crystal Palace in the summer of 2019. You know, Victor Lindelof, for some reason I've got strong reservations about Victor Lindelof. I don't think he's good enough to represent Man United. He's had some okay games this season, but he's just nowhere near on the same level as Harry Maguire. I'd rather play Tuanzebe alongside Maguire than Lindelof alongside Maguire. I'd rather play Eric Bailly as well. Obviously, Eric Bailly's out with injury. He's got a muscle injury, hasn't he? And he's out, I think, for a few weeks. That's my element of concern about Eric Bailly. Far too injury prone, isn't he? You know, Bailly's now enjoyed a good 4 years or so at Man United. Paid £30 million in from Villarreal back in 2016. To be honest with you, I'd prefer probably Fossa Mensah ahead of Victor Lindelof as well. You know, but we probably won't sell Victor Lindelof next year. We'll probably give him at least, you know, another season at the football club. Nemanja Matic, in the games he's played in recently, hasn't been that consistent. He's had some good games at Man United. He had some good games towards the end of last season. Matic, I think we'll end up selling him next year because he's obviously lost his place now in the team. You know, Nemanja Matic. Scott McTominay, he's another one that I haven't really been impressed with. He's had some okay games, but he's nowhere near on the level as Fred, is he? You know, I've criticised McTominay a lot before. McTominay has been part of the club for several years, hasn't he? Daniel James doesn't play a lot now, but when he has done, you know, he just hasn't been that consistent. I think we could loan Daniel James out next year, if I'm going to be honest with you. So there you go. But I think one of the best players Manchester United have got is Bruno Fernandes, without a shadow of a doubt. You know, Bruno Fernandes scored twice against Everton, also got an assist, obviously got to give him man of the match. In the vast majority of Bruno Fernandes' games, he's been very, very consistent. There's only been the odd game here and there where he's looked a bit off the pace. He was very, very poor against Besiktas because he lost the possession around 34 times. But Fernandes, you know, has enjoyed around 9 months at Manchester United. Won Premier League Player of the Month a couple of times. Also, you know, won some at Busby Player of the Year award. You know what I mean? Got him for around £47 million from Sporting Lisbon back in January. You know what I mean? He's one of our best players. Donny van der Beek's good, just isn't getting enough chances, is he? That's the question. Paul Pogba, I don't think he's good enough for Manchester United. Like I've said to you before, Paul Pogba's only had a good couple of periods at the club, hasn't he? So there you go. So anyway guys, that's everything to update you today. Drop your comments, likes below on the channel. If you do, consider subscribe as always, and take care. God bless. See you all again very, very soon.